All right. So why does pie dough need to rest? Do you think it happens when dough hasn't rested long? What do you think happens when dough hasn't rested long enough before baking? What's that? It could fall apart? Nope.
Wilson, what do you think? What do you think, Benny? I don't know. I know. So you think? Wait, what? Yeah. That's what you said.
All right. So what happens if you don't let it rest or cool while in between preparing it is it will shrink and lose its shape. So if you notice in that picture, like see how this is nice and full, and this one kind of shrunk up into the pan, right?
Yeah, you can't see it.
So do you see how it's this is nice and full? It stayed out and around the rim, and this one kind of shrunk up and went in. So if we don't let it rest, then the gluten gets too tight and will shrink up while we bake it. So that's by chilling it, you're relaxing that gluten, and the crust will stay tender and flaky. So here's our learning objective. I can roll, dock, fill, and top pies correctly to prepare them for baking. So shaping like a pro. So you're going to lightly flour your surface. You should just be picking it up with your fingers and sprinkling that flour. You shouldn't be taking that scoop and dumping a big chunk of flour onto your surface, because it will just make your pie crust very crumbly if you add too much extra flour to it. So just lightly surface it like they did in the picture there, okay? So we're going to start by getting our rolling pin, making sure we also flour our rolling pin. And then we put our hockey puck in the middle of that flour surface, and we're going to roll the dough from the center outward. And then you're going to turn it often, okay? So we will watch a quick video on how to do that. So while you are rolling it out, try not to stretch the dough. Just gently roll it out enough to where it's 1/8 of an inch thick and about 2 inches wider than the pan that you're going to use, okay? So the great way to check that is by taking your pan, flipping it upside down, and setting it on top of that pie crust and seeing if it's about 2 inches over the edge there, okay? Okay, so stretching your dough, remember, if we stretch it, it will shrink. Think of the gluten like a rubber band. The more you stretch it, the more it snaps back. Okay, there we go. So there's some tricks you can do to keep it from
since this was just in the fridge, it's going to be a bit hard
stretching.
to roll it first. That's why I gently press the dough with a rolling pin to soften it. When it's more pliable, begin to roll it out, rolling away from you and then turning the dough to keep a rough circle.
See how she picks it up and moves it? It doesn't stay in that one spot.
The dough will probably crack in places around the edge. No problem, just press them back together. Then keep rolling until the dough is at least 1 inch larger than your pie dish. As you're rolling, do a check to make sure the bottom isn't sticking. Just move it from side to side. If it's sticking, add a bit more flour. If it's getting too soft, place it onto a baking sheet and chill for a few minutes.
Okay, see how she uses the rolling pin?
And then unroll it back into the pie dish.
So the reason she did that was to keep it from stretching when she picked it up and moved it. Okay, so that is a good way to keep it from stretching when you go to place it in your pan there.
Gently move the dough so that it goes down into the dish.
Yep, so gently move. Don't stick your hand in there. Just gently kind of roll it in there.
And if you're making a single crust pie, add some decoration. For a double crust pie, you would wait to do this until the top crust has been added. I build up the sides a bit by folding the edges over onto themselves. For areas that are a little light, use the excess dough you cut away earlier to build those areas up. Then use a finger and knuckles to crimp. You can experiment, but it's pretty simple to make larger or smaller crimps depending on how hard you press.
There's how you finish your crust.
For a sweet potato pie, but for a double.
Perfect. All right. Any questions on that? Did you see how she crimped it, how she rolled it? And she used the extra stuff she cut off on one side to kind of make that one side a little bit longer after she put it in there. Okay, so for my pumpkin pie team, listen up. So you guys will be making your pumpkin pie filling. The pumpkin pie does not have a top crust to it. It never does. So you will need to dock your crust. So what that just entails is taking a fork and poking holes into the bottom. You don't want to go all the way through. You just want to put a few little holes through maybe like just the little top layers, okay? Don't go all the way through because then your pumpkin pie will seep through and then get underneath your crust. But this helps keep the flaky crust from bubbling up underneath and separating and all that stuff. So it's only used for single crust pies. The two teams one is making apple and one is making cherry. You guys do not need to do this step. Okay, this is just for the pumpkin pie group. All right. So the reason you don't need to do this for the apple pie and the cherry pie is because we are doing a top to it. So not only the filling, but you're also doing the top layer as well. Okay, so from crust to complete pie. So the apple will have that full top, like in this picture here, okay? You'll have that full top coverage, and all you need to do is take a paring knife and cut little slits into it, okay? You don't need to make a diamond shape, just a little slit. As it bakes, it will kind of spread open and it'll let the steam of the filling out, okay? And then for the cherry pie, you're going to weave lattice strips on top, okay? So the cherry pie, how to do a lattice, we will watch a quick video on how to do that. And the pumpkin pie, you obviously don't have a top. Remember, you need to dock your crust. So how to do a full, this is just a quick video on how to do a full top pie. So just getting the filling in. Okay, this is another technique you can do. So to keep it from stretching, what this person did was folded it into little triangle and then moved it over instead of using the rolling pin. This keeps it from stretching. Okay? Okay. You pinch and seal those edges. And that's how you do the crimping. And then an egg wash. We'll do the egg wash later. Okay, this is how you do the lattice.
Pie bakers.
For my cherry pie makers.
Lay one of the together, and I promise this is easier than it looks. Lay 6 strips vertical pie, or measuring tape to make sure that it's 12 inches. I just eyeballed it. Grab a pizza cutter, or you can use a pastry wheel, and we're going to cut 12 1-inch strips. Your strips can really be any width, but I want to show you weaving 6 strips in perpendicular directions. It's just a classic way to top a pie. Latticing is always beautiful. It's just a timeless look on top of your pie. And you could do this really for any pie, like a blueberry pie or cherry pie. Set those aside. You can always save any dough scraps and freeze them. Got my 12 strips there. Now we're going to weave the strips together, and I promise this is easier than it looks. Lay 6 strips vertically and evenly spaced on the top of the filled pie. Use the longer strips in the center of the pie and the shorter strips on the ends. Fold every other strip, 3 in total, all the way back so they're almost falling off the pie, and don't worry if they do. Lay one of the 6 unused strips perpendicular on top. Fold the 3 vertical strips back so they lay over the perpendicular strip. You have 5 strips left. Fold the other 3 vertical strips back. Lay one of the 5 unused strips perpendicular on top. Unfold the 3 vertical strips back so they lay over the perpendicular strip. You're now beginning to see the beautiful woven pattern. Repeat with the last 4 strips, weaving the strips over and under one another. I like to leave a little bit of dough around the edges so I have enough to work with. This is just a little too much, so I'm going to use kitchen shears to trim that excess dough, but still leaving enough for me to fold back over. And now to seal the bottom crust with the top lattice strip,